Hello, good evening, and welcome to Garblag Games. Tonight, we're playing The One Ring. And as you can see, my players are fairly enthusiastic to get started. So I'll let them introduce themselves, basically starting with the people I can see in the Zoom chat. So Pete, you're up first.
Hello, I'm Pete. And hello, I'm Pete. That might be more of an appropriate voice, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, Aaron.
Hey everybody, I'm Aaron, and my voice is going to be probably this voice because I'm crap with accents.
That's perfectly fine. Roger, what accent are you going for?
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't have no accents where I come from.
Now, is that chip guy or comedy peasant?
Yes.
At O'Doon.
Oh, there be competition for the comedy peasant. Thank you very much. Hello, I'm O'Doon, and I'll be explaining all of this later.
And lastly, but never leastly, Ben.
Well, I've been working on my accent as well, but mine's going to have to be based not so much on what Tolkien's done, but more on what Peter Jackson's done, see? But I am Ben. Hello.
So there you go. You now have an opportunity before they introduce their characters to guess what they're playing.
Or to just give up now and leave and pretend that it was a good show. Because...
or just read them on the on our nameplates.
Also, a sweepstakes
true.
to see how long Ben can keep that up.
About that long, I reckon.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for the re-rolls that were already rolling.
I think that shows a great deal of faith, or lack
faith
of
in
it,
your characters,
in how this is going to go. But thank you. It is appreciated.
Well, we'll get straight into it then.
Aye.
With evil things growing ever bolder and dark agents often seen abroad, you formed a company of those unwilling to stand idle against the long shadow that now draws near. At the counsel of an old friend to each of you individually, you then gathered in Bree as he returned that way from the Shire. Gandalf, Mithrandir to the elder folk, or the grey pilgrim spoken of by the men of Dale, and Tharkun amongst the dwarves, offered an honest account of the times. He was deeply troubled of late, and his mind turned to the cold, abandoned places of the north, as well as the lone lands further afield, and the darker, silent and haunted places beyond that. There are many wondrous and powerful things still lost amongst the ruins of Eriador, and Gandalf feared their uncovering by the enemy in the coming years. He bade you to seek them out quietly, and under a furrowed brow he mused that you might find something of value in their wilderness. So, with the counsel of Gandalf, you left the safety of Bree in search of precious things hidden in the forgotten places of the world. Now, we come to the last few days of the ice of winter. It's the 2nd of Gwaeron, or Rethe, by Shire Reckoning, which is basically March, in 3002 of the Third Age. As the long chill slowly lifts from the land, your company is returning from the haunted ruins of Annúminas along Lake Evendim. At the bite of winter, the lake diminishes a little, and things hidden are wont to be revealed. Submerged dwellings long abandoned now free, your company braved the solid ice of the lake. Unfortunately, what ruins rose up out of the receding waters were quickly swallowed by a thick, disquieting fog. So it was that your labours came to naught, and blinded by the deep fog and haunted by the sorrowful ruins, your company retreated from Annúminas almost empty-handed. There you rested against the eerie lake's banks, meaning to stay such time as would allow you to try again. Alas, a few trinkets and a troll trickled down from the lone lands, and slain with difficulty, turned out to be your final reward for your endeavours. Now, with a mind to crossing the Brandywine, you've departed back towards the safety and warmth of Bree. And that is pretty much where we find you at the moment, making a camp for the night as you intend to travel further in the morning. So we'll go around everyone's players and you can tell us about your character, tell us what you're doing in the camp at the moment, and maybe tell us a little bit about the camp that you've built. So starting at the top again for me, Pete, tell us about your character.
So sitting so that he can see what he's reading by firelight, sort of not being rude, but maybe turning slightly so his book is visible, is a fit, 50-ish year old dwarf whose walking axe is lying by his feet. It's never far away, but generally he's using it to lean on as he goes on his long journeys. And he's always looking through books, and he has his favourite book in his hand, an old travel journal that he came across a long time ago. He's probably helped chop some wood already and piled some up next to his seat, so he's always able to toss it onto the fire to not only keep everyone warm, but to make sure he's got enough light to see, to read by. And he's generally sort of humming and singing a little bit as he goes around. Sometimes it sounds a bit like rocks rolling over each other. Sometimes it's audible and actually has a tune. But yeah, he seems to be generally a positive but quiet kind of character who likes to look in holes, as long as people have cleared the way first.
And across from him is Aaron, your character.
So Dace is one of the Dunedain, a ranger of the north. He's a tall, broad-shouldered man with the lean build of a swordsman. He has got close-cropped black hair and a closely trimmed beard. His pale eyes seem to miss little, with his back to the fire as he scans the wilderness around, trying to ensure that his friends in the fellowship are not taken unaware by any of the creatures that may still be tracking them from the lake.
Okay. And Ben, gonna spring down to you to mix things up.
Also looking out away from the fire is a fairly heavily built young woman with a slightly worried furrow on her brow, propped up on a great bow, finely dressed and armored, clearly prepared for anything. She does occasionally glance across at her horse. Brought down 2 geese for dinner today, so the first sign of summer is a good thing. It's Sigrun, the daughter of Sigrid. She has sort of honey blonde hair and brown eyes, but lacks her mother's smiling demeanor, is instead quite sober and serious young woman.
Right. Roger, tell us about your character.
So, in slight counterbalance to everyone else being quite dour and serious, there's a young hobbit merrily whistling to himself as he's cooking up some nice potatoes around on the fire. He's got a kettle going with some nice tea, gotta stay warm. Get those chips, ooh, very good, with a bit of that nice goose that our friend caught earlier. Ooh, I'll cook up a treat. He's in very good spirits. Spring's coming, that means growth. Big fan of things that grow, especially potatoes. And yeah, he's generally very chirpy and completely ignoring the world around him, just focusing on the cooking.
Odun.
Hello. Yes, Giles Butterbur here of the Butterburs of Bree. He's a tall, lean chap. Used to walk in long, long miles on long, long days. Little message satchel by his side. Never leaves his side. Always patting that, making sure it's there. Make sure he doesn't lose it. Made his trade running messages between the towns, known in many a village. He's got plain, honest, generous face, a courteous nod to everyone, always happy to help around the camp. If there's no jobs to be done, he'll be found with his old pipe just blowing smoke rings and fairy dragons and trying to make a ship. He saw Gandalf do a ship once, and he's still trying to figure out how he did that.
Yeah, that's the art of smoking. Yeah. So I am gonna say, as both Sigrund and Dace are kind of looking out into the wilderness beyond the camp, you'll raise the above slightly with your backs to a small cusp of trees where you gathered the wood for your fire, and below you is a narrow lawn that stretches out into the darkness. Can you both give me a awareness test, which is strength, I believe? Strength awareness.
Now, what do we do
Just
to roll in this system? Do we click on the word?
So, yeah, if you click on it, on awareness, it should give you everything you need, pretty much.
I got a great success with 1-6.
I shot myself in the eye.
I think you're using that far-seeing glass wrong.
Yeah. Sigrun slightly distracted by the crackling of goose on the fire.
In fairness, who doesn't like the taste of chips? It's quite a distracting thought.
Is it not the smoke dragon that's going past your ears?
Sorry, no. I was just thinking, actually, if you put some cheese on some bread and then you cooked it, wouldn't that be lovely?
With the chips on top. Ooh, I like your thinking.
This is going to start a debate that we don't want to get back into.
So with my extra success, I'll actually make Sigrun's failure a success.
Success as well. Very good. Someone read the book.
It was going to be Aaron. Come on.
We all knew it.
Yeah. You both kind of simultaneously notice a pair of shadows down below in this narrow lawn area, hobbling out towards you. As they draw nearer, it appears to be, two human figures wrapped in cloaks, and the firelight picks up on rusty browns and drab greens, though they do seem to be leaning on each other a bit as they approach, and they're not moving very fast.
So without looking back at the fire, Dace just says, "Where to the camp? We have, it looks like 2 humans coming upon us."
I wonder if they're hungry.
What's that?
The speed with which they're moving, they may be injured or exhausted.
Shall I go out and help them?
Let me
hospitable,
check
like.
first. Giles, I appreciate that, but they could be simply laying a ruse to attack.
Well, I don't think so. Oh, I'm going to go out. I'll take Betsy, my axe, and if there's any trouble, I'll scream like I've been stuck with a sword.
Dace shakes his head and walks along with Giles, just in case.
I shall knock an arrow to my bow.
Hello there!
Watch the camp.
Hello, travellers!
I haven't noticed. I'm reading my book.
Still reading.
2 more for dinner, Robin.
Giles and Dace, you sort of get a low kind of hey, well met.
Hail and well
As
met.
they stumble towards you.
And where be you from?
We've been traveling down from the north. we saw your fire, and we are greatly weary and quite badly injured.
Oh, well, how
We
is
had
it that
hoped
you come to be
to
injured?
rest amongst your company.
Can Dace try an insight check to see if they're on the up and up?
You can, yeah.
Okay, this is so you guys saw that great success. This is going to be the other side of that.
That was what I rolled.
Drastic failure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They
As-
Giles, they seem okay. Maybe we should get them into the camp.
As far as you can tell, yeah. They
Right.
seem
I
above
expected you
board,
to be
and
more
to be
suspicious
honest,
of them, Ranger friend, but all right then.
they're both rather tall. Tall. It's a man and a woman. They're both rather tall, dressed in kind of traveling clothing in
Here,
light
lay your
leathers,
weight
rusty
upon me.
browns, drab greens. The woman has a battered helmet under her hood, and they kind of remind you of Dace a bit as well.
Whichever one of you needs the support, please lay your weight upon me and I will convey you to the camp.
Woman sort of releases the man onto your shoulders, and he slumps further down, and his weight falls upon you. Yeah, you can't quite bear it in the same manner, so it's a sudden heavy weight upon you, and as you help them up the slope to your camp above.
My word. Well, welcome and well met. You said you were injured. How did this come about?
Perhaps we
Let
should
them sit by the
introduce
fire
ourselves.
first. Come, sit down.
We have chips and
First.
tea.
Then that is a blessed tiding indeed. As
Are you likely to have been pursued?
we have been pursued for many days and nights, and oftentimes it has come to battle.
So that's a yes then.
What
I
has been
am
pursuing you?
Without looking, I'm going to lean over, pull my mail shirt out from my sleeping bag, and slight. It's close fitting, so I'm going to put it in on under, and then put my tunic up around it, and then carry on reading my book.
I am Moriel, daughter of Merieth. This is my husband, Erden, son of Erevan. And we have traveled down here from the north, where we met a desperate soul, Gindor, the Seeker, who charged us to bring something to Rivendell.
Right, this sounds
But,
interesting now. Hang on, lads. Hang on, lads. I'll put my book down and I'll take out a fresh notebook and I'll get a pen out. Moriel, how are you spelling that? And I'll start taking notes of everything they start saying.
Well, don't be silly, Master Tonguefinder. You spell it in the elven fashion.
Oh, let me remember my Cinderin then.
Our friend Dace is from the north.
That's true. I am from the north. He still has his back to the fire and still watching out. Assuming the others will take care of these two. He does ask over his shoulder, though, what has been pursuing you, or who?
We've, since taking this charge, we've been pursued by a band of orcs and wargs that have dogged our every move.
I chuckle. Because he said they dogged us. I like a pun. He just chuckles behind his book and then remembers his manners.
Erden, Erden's mostly sort of leaning against a big wound along his thigh.
Do we have a medic?
Yeah, who's the healer in the party?
Oriel is the one doing most of the talking, but she has
I have a touch of
grazes
healing.
and
I'm
cuts
not an
along-
expert,
along
but I
her
can give it a
face.
go.
I
They've got
don't
it.
have a clue myself.
I have a tiny bit.
I think you
But-
keep the blood on the inside and the bones
It's a good
in
start,
a straight
yes.
line. That's
As
all
long
I
as they're
know.
meant to be straight.
So what do you have for healing? I've got 2 and a target number of 15.
I've got 1 and a target number of 14.
1 and 15.
Are you going to offer to tend to their wounds, or?
I was just about to start making a move that way.
Yeah, we would be grateful for rest by your fire and the company in such dark nights as such a group as yourselves would bring, and the safety of.
Let's take a look at these injuries of yours.
Don't
I
worry,
can't
we've got
promise
med.
you that the skill of a surgeon, but it's better than nothing.
Well, we've
Go
got
for
better
it.
than just company. We've got chips.
Dace, are we expecting some orcs then?
Maybe. If they've been being pursued, we don't know how far back the orcs are. I'll keep my eyes out.
I'll come join you
Ace
on the sides there. Keep an eye out. You look that
and
way, and I'll look
Giles.
t'other.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
As you look out, the dark seems a little more dark than it did earlier.
I can see a lake.
The lake's pretty much gone from view now.
Oh, it's
I can't
gone.
see
It's quite
anything.
dark now.
See
Yeah.
clouds.
The shadows.
The
Can't
shadows
you
appear to
see
be
the map?
lengthening. It's almost like they're reaching
Ben.
towards us, like some sort of
Hmm.
long hand. Oh no, it's just the fog. It's alright.
Yeah, there are a few patches of stray fog clouds that seem to be mist hanging to the grass below now. So Sigrun, feel free to roll for medic
Healing.
or medicine.
So before you roll, Ben, Dace reaches into his satchel and pulls out his healing balm and hands it back to Sigrun and says, "Here, use some of this. It'll help." Mechanically, it gives you a bonus dice.
Okay, let's have a
Nice.
go.
Yep. So you can
How do I add a
one
dice? There
to
we
that.
go. Add 1 dice. Penalty that way, bonus that way.
Oh, nice.
So that's on the man first because he's the
Yeah.
most injured, and that's
You-
triage
yeah.
for you.
You manage to sort of patch up Erden's wounds and stop the bleeding and wrap it up so that it will hopefully heal over time. Still suffering a bit from the pain of it, and it's a bad wound, but given rest, you're pretty sure he should recover.
Well,
At
let's
some
take
point.
a look at her face as well then. How many doses in that? pot,
It's
Harry?
my useful item. So as long as
Yeah,
we don't
so-
overuse it, it pretty much lasts. It's
Okay.
a plot element more than anything.
It's like Lembus.
Eat little crumbs of it.
Okie dokie, there we go. Another success then. To treat her.
Yes. Yeah. So her wounds along her face are a little, mostly grazes, a few cuts and bruises. Basically, you
Just
clean
clean
and
it up,
wash
really.
them enough.
Get some of that
uh,
dirt out of there.
And Moriel thanks you as Erden kind of leans over and just slumps down on the floor by the fire and
Oh, don't
curls
go
up
to
a
sleep
bit.
just yet, sir. Let's get some food inside you. How's that food coming along, Robin?
It's almost there. Give it another minute and it'll be perfect. But in the meantime, here, have some tea. I'll pour them well, not a mug, but cup of tea.
What about a jolly good sing-song? I'll call back.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. It'll
Hold
perk
your
everyone
horses,
right up.
lads. There might be
First
orcs out
song
there.
of the game.
Always peps me up, a jolly good sing-song.
In the meantime, Moriel will continue her story to. So she mentions that they initially, as they were fighting this kind of running battle with the orcs and wargs that were chasing them down from the long fallen kingdom of Angmar, they'd fought to turn east towards the ruins of Fornus Dorain, and then travel down the Greenway. But that path had been blocked, so instead they've been traveling down the Brandywine, and pretty much moved into the river in the hopes of losing their scent amongst the water, which unfortunately so far hasn't succeeded. But that just managed to weary them further, and now, exhausted and injured, they've come across you good folks and hope for some safety in numbers. Oriel kind of shifts around so that she, much like Dace, is also looking out across the darkness.
How many of your orcs and wargs were still in pursuit as you made it up this hill?
It has proven to be a great number, a great company of orcs that have been pursuing us.
Mr.
But they can't
Burrows,
travel by day, can they? So they'll only be traveling by night. So we've got at least a couple of hours before they can catch up. Although if they're mounted on wargs, they might be a bit nippy.
Mr. Burrows, we may have to put your fire out and cut your cooking short.
It's just
The
about
shadow
done.
seems to have been lying heavy in clouds great in the sky of late. And so our pursuit was quite consistent.
They've been abroad by day. That's not a good sign.
I'll
So they were
sprinkle
right
over
on your heels. I go and kick dirt over the fire.
with a pinch of herbs over my pan. It's done.
Move your pan now, Mr. Burrows.
Oh,
I
I
set
take it off the
about
fire
putting
anyway.
the fire out.
I'll say taking it off the fire, and I'll move my kettle as well.
Yeah. Both Erden and Moriel will gladly accept any food you give them and thank you for it. Erden sort of picks at it but soon falls asleep. Moriel seems to be remaining quite stoically awake and staring out into the depths.
Yeah, I'll plate some
Until
up for
after a
everyone.
while, every now and again you spot her writing something down, but then her eyes dart out again.
No, I'll keep some in some wax paper for my supper later on.
Can I see what she's
Can't miss
writing?
supper.
Is she writing a journal?
You can try. Are you?
No, I'm not going to
like,
try too hard.
trying to sneak
I'm going to
it?
make it
She
clear to
appears
her
to be
that
writing
I'm interested in what she's doing, but I'm not going to go and peer over her shoulder. That would be rude.
a note or a letter of some kind.
Okay. I got to get one of my maps out and come over to her and be like, "Now, which tributary of the and sort of try to get a bit of information, of their path."
Yeah. So basically, I'll maybe draw it on the map.
I'll switch to the map. It's a lovely map, and I do like the clouds.
They, as far as he can tell you, come down that way, then been turned away from Fornest's reign, moved down the Brandywine, and for a bit crossed.
Aha! That's now appeared when you finished your line. It's okay. There we go.
I can see the line, I just can't see the map.
Oh,
You might need to reload your foundry.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
Still no joy. Do it again.
is there a token on them?
Yeah,
Or is it just universal?
Sorry.
travel tokens up, so you should all be able to
Mind
see
you,
that one.
I've got a smaller window
Check the
than...
permissions. Yep.
So it's saying that some features don't work because I've got the resolution set too low.
Yeah, I've had a
I
similar
know, my
problem with
resolution's
that
set
with
too high on one
my
thing and too low on
D&D
another. That'd be what the
players,
issue
and
is.
it does make it hard to see maps and things.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get.
But you can see it on the Twitch.
I can.
Trying to get a good view for the viewers. There we go.
Moriel, if you are proceeding to Rivendell, could you carry a missive for me to my father, Derek? He is in Rivendell, convalescing after a bite from a giant spider not long ago.
We'd gladly do so. However, I fear our path is fraught with danger.
Oh, come on now,
I
Dave.
cannot guarantee the safety of your message.
We will see you safe to Bree at the very least. As a man of Bree, it's the very least I can do is to see you to Bree. The good folk there, they'll help you on your way to Rivendell. You'll be right.
Fairly spoken, Giles. Indeed.
You said you were turned away from Fornost. By what?
A large number of orc had beaten us
Is that
to
where they
the
cut you
gap,
off?
and we were forced to turn away from our path as they chased us towards the Brandywine.
Okay, so not that Fornost itself is infested, but you just couldn't get there.
I mean, I wouldn't choose Fornost as a holiday destination.
Hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just important in my line of work to know where I can go without being eaten.
Just to
Very
choose
few
lift their
places.
spirit.
At this point, night it's getting fairly late as well. You've eaten your dinner. Have you put out the fire completely now?
Yes.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a chill to the air that the last embers of warmth
Well,
are
it's
trying to
bundle
keep
up.
at bay, but
There's nothing a dwarf hog won't keep away.
Well,
Keep your
you
dwarf
hug the
hugs away.
wounded. Those of us on watch will stay up, and the frost will keep us sharp. Isn't that right, Dace?
okay.
Aye, that's
How
right.
are you setting up your watches?
2 by 2.
Well, it sounds like Dace and Giles are going first.
That's fair.
Okay.
Dace, wake me and Robin when it's time, and then Lucky Vidar gets the last watch.
Love a bit of dawn reading. That's fine.
At this sort of point, as you're discussing the watch, you notice that Moriel has kind of slumped forwards and her eyes are closed, and she's fallen asleep sitting up. Right.
I'm going to give her my cloak. I'm just going to drape it over her shoulders.
Erden seems to be like he's inched his way closer to the fire as after you put it out, but
Well, the
Also
embers will keep you warm.
rolled
That's not
out.
a bad plan.
And then I'm going to turn in straight
Both
away,
of them?
because if I'm on mid-watch, then... that's the worst one. It'll be fine for Robin. He'll be getting up to have, like, 12s.
No, get the first meal until 7 a.m. That's just silly to eat in the middle of the night.
Oh, Dace and Giles are on first watch. Giles. Okay.
Balrog. What's that bright thing over there?
Oh, I passed peacefully in my sleep then.
First watch passes quietly. At a given point, you're kind of getting the sense that maybe the darkness that is quite oppressive around you now, maybe there's something lurking out there, but you neither hear nor see anything, nor is there anything that approaches close enough to worry you.
Air has a strange taint, my friend.
Aye.
Like it not.
There's something moving in the darkness. And when Dace wakes Sigrun to take over, he's like, beware, there's something in the darkness that is watching, though I have not been able to see it myself.
Well, as long as it's just watching, it's probably a little thrown to find a suddenly much larger group of folk.
One can only hope. And when Day settles in, he just kind of leans back against the tree and keeps his longsword out at hand.
Okay. As second watch comes on, can you both give me an awareness test?
Does keen eye do anything here?
Is that
It's a distinctive feature.
Yeah. You can use that to be inspired. Then if you spend a hope point, you get 2 bonus dice instead of 1.
I don't think I'll bother. I'll wing it.
You've got 15 hope points, Roger. That's like the most of our party.
I'll be fine.
So, yeah. The same sort of situation. There's definitely something out there. But it never strays near enough that you can see it or make it out or hear it in any way. But at this point, second watch, Sigrun and Robin are quite certain that out beyond the safety of your little camp, something fell lurks.
But when it comes to the end of our watch, I will nudge Vidar awake.
Okay.
All right, chap. There's something out there.
Oh, orcs. Bloody
More than likely.
orcs.
Something quite nasty's out there. It might be orcs. It might just be like a warg front runner or something, keeping an eye on things. I think I may stay up for this
Filthy
one.
beasts. No, you get your sleep, lass. Don't worry about old Vidar. I'll be fine.
All right. Well, you give us a shout if you need anything.
Oh, you'll hear me.
Okay, Vidar. Same situation. You're peering out into
And I'm kind of
the
humming
dark
to myself a
in
bit.
the-
Just I'm slightly afraid, so I'm like trying to cheer myself up a little bit, but not loud enough to like wake anyone up.
Your jaunty hum bolsters your courage slightly and breaks the oppressive darkness and the silence that hangs over the area. And you can roll awareness as well.
Oh dear. This is not going to work very well. Here we go. Awareness. Let me see. Awareness. And here we go. A failure. Oh, just. Look at that.
As you're staring out a shadow moves to your left, and you sort of turn to see a hulking mass lurch out from the cusp of the hill towards you, as whatever it is, you haven't seen it approach, and
Dane's beard!
Teeth and claws come crashing into you.
I scream, Dane's beard! Really loud. As I get my axe, getting my axe up to be ready.
What I'll say in this case is the warg is gonna go first, because it caught you slightly unawares.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Bring it on. I knew they'd wait for the dwarf to be on watch.
You were alone on watch.
Yeah,
the
of course.
ideal
And I'm a
moment.
dwarf. They're like, oh.
Yeah. Sharp fangs come.
Okay, right, how do we do combat?
I will, let's see, a nice map for that. I'll tuck you up here for now.
Did you say he was going to fuck you up?
Chuck you up here.
No, I heard.
That's a bit harsh for Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, come on, it's Tolkien. You've got to say it in Elvish.
Elrond gazed out upon the wraiths and said, "I'll fuck you up."
Played by Danny Dyer.
I was fucking there, Gandalf. You won't believe it. 3,000 years ago, mate.
Chopped his fucking finger off with it.
Bosh, just like that.
I was going to throw it in the fire, but I thought, fuck me, that's pretty.
But that mug, Sauron, lost it, didn't he?
Yeah, I'll get a nice penny for that down the market.
Yoink, mine now, son.
Take it down to Bovey.
Hang on.
So right nice.
Am I hanging out with orcs?
Oh, that's Gondor. That's what everyone in Gondor sounds like.
Damn it. Roll. I'll just roll it like this.
Now I'm picturing a remake of Boromir played by Danny Dyer.
So what is your
parry
parry
rating?
Oh, my parry is 16.
A lot of dice.
Oh.
That'll
Really?
hit.
Yep,
Yeah.
that'll hit.
Teeth sink in around your arm, just below the mail, and yeah.
Do I get to roll
You
my...
take 4 endurance, but
Do I roll my armor? How does my armor work?
Only if they get
only
a
if it's a
piercing
piercing
attack.
blow. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Because basically your endurance can go up and down, and you'll
Sure.
get tired, you'll get injured, it'll come back up again. But
Yep.
you can only really be killed by wounds from a piercing
Okay,
blows.
gotcha. So how many did you say, sorry?
4
4 points.
endurance. But what that's going to do is that's going to bring you closer to your load, and at a given point you'll become weary,
Weirdy.
like your
Gonna
ranger
take a
friends.
while for that to happen, young lad. I am one of Durin's folk. Oh, you mangy beast! Come here and have some of my walking axe.
It's gripping onto your.
Even better, easier for me to hack your head off.
Snarling at you.
Yeah,
You
I'm just
can
gonna hack at it.
get back.
Right, so I just
Having
click
a
on
lovely
axes.
dream.
So what you have to do is add its parry value to your target number.
Okay.
Its parry value is 0 because
So
it's a wolf.
And I'm assuming it's strength, yeah?
That's
It's
your
you
weapon.
can just click on.
I'll click on my weapon. Here we go. Axes.
On your weapon.
Here we go.
It should.
Okay.
roll it for you.
TN 15. And nothing added on for them.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah,
Can I?
it's so close.
Can I do a
in.
reroll? Can I use a fellowship
You
point?
have a reroll.
Oh, I have a
Yeah,
reroll.
you
Right,
got a reroll.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I want to hack its head off. And they wake up and I'm like, sorted you are, girl.
I've got a new hat.
Is there a way I can juice this up anyway?
You can.
You can use hope points.
Can I use a point
to
of hope?
Add a dice to it.
Okay,
So if you use
let's
a
do
point
that.
of hope, you get one dice, one extra dice.
Okay.
What are your distinctive
There-
features?
Yeah,
I
God
am
knows.
proud. I don't want you guys waking up when I haven't hurt this thing.
So
Uh,
if you
Then
use
you'd
the
get
proud,
2.
you would get 2 dice if you spend 1 hope.
Okay, let's do that. And when you say use the proud, does that mean I can't use it again for a while, or it's
No,
just
you
I'm
can-
taking
you can
advantage
use-
of it?
yeah.
Yeah, you're
No, it's
you're
just-
taking advantage of that
Cool.
feature of your
Yeah.
personality.
Sorry, my first time playing this.
That's fun.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to use a point of hope. Where have my hope points gone? There they are. I'm down to 11.
And as
And therefore using my proud, because I
was
don't want
pointed
to
out in chat, you could also be in a forward stance, but at the moment that's
I
not
was- yeah, I was
really
surprised.
relevant
I was
because you've just been
surprised. Yeah, I was
ambushed and
So that's
you're not
fine.
quite ready for it.
So I
Oh
get
yeah,
to add,
stances are a thing, aren't they?
Oh,
to
yeah,
add
yeah.
2 dice to this, right? So I go
Yep.
up
Down
to
at the
there.
bottom, it's bonus dice up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along 2 slots. Great. Here we go.
Look at all those dice.
And an extraordinary success, which means you have 2 successes that you can spend to, for instance, you can create a heavy blow, which adds endurance damage.
Yeah.
Um,
How do I hack its head off? Is that make it a heavy blow?
Heavy blow. You add your strength to the total damage of the weapon,
Oh,
plus
Yeah.
an additional one if you're using the weapon 2-handed.
I'm not, because he's holding one. He's got one of my arms in his
Yeah.
mouth. So my strength is 5, and my axe does 6. So it's
11.
11 damage.
Yep. But you have 2 successes, so you could do 2
Heavy
2
blows.
things with it. You
Well,
could
you could
potentially do 2 heavy blows.
Okay.
So I think you can repeat heavy blow.
And what's the other options? Combat. Here we go.
Pierce, but you can't do that with axes.
Okay.
With the heavy blow, you can only spend 1 success icon per attack.
Oh,
so
right. Yeah.
the other one you can
okay.
use fend it
Yeah.
off. So your
Ah,
parry
yes.
value
That's-
goes up by 1 for the next attack.
Okay. Pierce. Yeah, I can't do shield thrust. That doesn't count.
No.
Okay. I will fend off. So I'll go into an aggressive position. Can I shake it off my arm and be like,
Yeah. You
"Ooh," two-handed on the axe?
knock it back and
Yeah.
then smash into it with the axe. Are you using the axe 2-handed then? Or?
Well, I haven't got shield. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to go for it.
Are you fending it off first or trying to hack its
No,
head off first?
I fend it off.
Fend it
first.
off and then hack its head off.
Yeah, I fend it off,
Yeah.
and then because my arm is free, I can now wield
Well,
it
you know,
two-handed.
yeah, you can basically narratively describe it how you want. You're doing the whole thing in one set. So
Okay.
yeah, you
I kick it off
Push
me,
it.
and then I double-handed swing the axe into its neck.
okay. So you're going to add an extra point of endurance damage to that,
Excellent.
or 2-handed
So I'll do 12
plus
damage,
Yeah.
and my parry's now
Is-
gone up by 1.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cool, and I'm in an aggressive stance.
There you go.
My beard is ruffled. I'm not
It's
happy.
yeah. What? How do you lay this sudden onslaught of your foe low?
Oh, is it dead?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I kick it, and I go, "Oh, you mangy beast, sneaking up on me in the dark. That's not really fair." And I just hack its head off. And when they wake up, I'm going to wait to see if there's any other opponents. If there aren't, they're going to wake up. I'm going to be sitting on its head, sketching.
Moriel and Erden basically startle awake at the noise of fighting, and a last kind of low growl comes from the warg as you smack it in the head with your axe.
Aye.
But beyond you, in the darkness, in the grassland, you hear a howl come up And then further back, you hear it answered by more howls and the distant shouts of black speech.
Now, I don't want to alarm anyone, but I think we may have to break camp and move. It was a fairly uneventful watch, but I have gathered some very, very important intelligence that we may be being followed.
What was it that gave it away?
Oh, you tell me, Mr. Butterbur.
Is it the nice rug you've now got?
It would be a fine rug, but unfortunately, I don't think I've got time.
I think we should leave.
Yeah. Dace walks up out of the shadows behind you and claps you on the shoulder. Yeah, I think you're right, Master Tome Finder. It's time to hit the road.
I'm going to help the
Moriel,
Dunedain up onto my horse.
Moriel and Erden get up quite quickly. And Moriel says there's the ruins of an abandoned watchtower to the southeast here. Perhaps we should split up. If you head to that and wait there for our coming, we'll lead them away, as the wargs already know our scent.
They're too injured. If we leave you alone in this, you'll be too much at risk. Come on, come with us. You can ride on my horse.
We're just gonna get eaten. Come on.
Gwyneth won't mind.
We'll meet you at the watchtower. We'll lead them off to the Norburn, to the banks of the Norburn, and then we'll use the river.
I'll look at Sigrid,
much like we did the brandy one,
and Robin, and I'll say they may actually be quicker than us.
Well, if you insist, I'm not one to tell you how to do your business.
It is your choice, but travel fast, travel safe, and meet us at the tower.
What if you fall? What's your? Is there anything you wish us to know to pass on to anyone if we do not meet up?
If we do
Tell him
not
that
meet
Burrow's
up,
potatoes are the best.
If we do not meet up, I fear much may be lost anyway. But I have hope in my heart that we will see each other again. And Moriel sort of clasps you in a big old hug, and then moves away. And they both slink off through the forest. You see them disappear down the opposite side of the hillside. With a little rest and food, they appear to be moving significantly faster than they were before, as is the endurance of the Dunedain.
We're a hardy bunch. Right, with them gone, let's make for this tower. Perhaps some of the orc and wargs will follow us.
Daybreak is hopefully nearby, but it was just sort of the start of Vida's watch. So, you can hear the howling of wargs coming out from the north.
Do we want to try and lead them away from those folk? I mean, we gave them hospitality. I feel beholden.
Well, perhaps when the wargs and orcs see us moving off, some of them will follow us.
Aye, they may break their forces in two. They are much larger.
So I guess the question is, who's going to be our guide?
Well, in this case, we're just going to go, you're being chased, so we'll do a short little
make a cheese it
hop to the watchtower, and then from there.
Cool.
I know these areas well. I prefer to be on the roads, but I know the rough camps of this.
The watchtower is roughly where Aaron's mouse is at the moment. Sort of just a small.
Just a short hop and a skip.
Well, it's a bit more than a hop and a skip, but it will be a fast run
through the woods.
or How many of you have horses or ponies on you, by the way? That's probably a
I've got my
good
pony.
idea to.
I think I could afford one. I think I've got a pony.
Yeah.
What's
Probably
your
laden with
wealth?
books.
What's your wealth level?
I am
Prosperous, I think.
Oh yeah,
Is your
you've got a
current
fine
vogue.
you've got a fine pony,
Fine
or a
pony.
fine horse.
Yeah.
It's
You don't
carrying all
get
my
a fine
books. It better
horse
be a
for
fine
prosperous.
pony.
You get a decent horse for
Oh,
prosperous,
yeah, decent.
or a
Yeah,
fine
riches,
pony.
Riches, fine. Oh,
Riches is a
fine
fine horse.
Dace
Yeah, you
is
can have like a
running.
top-notch pony.
Dace has his own 2 feet, and he's going to be using them.
Giles the same.
Dace bolts away towards this watchtower, which you probably passed on the way in anyway, so you have a rough idea of where it is.
All right, come on up then, Robin.
And
Hey, I've got Jeffrey. I'm not leaving him behind.
All right then, well, you have Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, my overweight pony.
the wargs howl at your backs. But you can.
Poor little
give me
ponies are trotting like mad.
athletics or or anything similar that you
All
wish
right.
to proclaim will be
Travel?
your.
Do I roll my
Great
athletics for
travelling.
my pony, or
You can just roll athletics in general, and I'll give you an extra d6 for the pony.
Oh.
I knew I shouldn't have fed him so many taters.
There's a lot of Eyes of Sauron going on today.
Dear, that's a
Ooh.
+1 for a pony, right? Oh, that's not bad.
So
Hey.
yeah,
Go on, Jeffrey.
don't forget. Ooh, nice.
oh dear.
Pony assist.
Don't forget, you can spend, for those of you that got better than just a normal success, a great success, or an extraordinary success. You can you
use
can
them for
spend
some-
those
Everyone.
successes to do things such as go silently, or to remove a failure of
Oh
one
wait,
of
I've got a
your
reroll.
So Robin,
Your
you got a
friends
great
and colleagues.
Oh,
success.
I will. Oh, I will make.
What?
I'll make Giles pass with mine.
Thank you.
I was going to do that before
Oh.
you re-rolled, but you beat me to it.
who passed.
Yep.
And who failed.
I will. I'll spend my reroll to reroll and see if I can get a pass.
Oh, sorry, I missed. Someone else failed.
No, it's okay. Thanks for the reroll, by the way, Richard.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh my!
May need more of them. Oh, it was
That's better.
favored. Yeah.
Yeah. Athletics is
Nice.
favored for me.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. So you all bolt from your little camp, breaking it down quite quickly, gathering your packs and setting to your horses or running them by hand, and following after Dace, who's leading the way with great, massive strides. And stumbling through the darkness, you come upon another slight rise and an outcropping of the tower, the broken watchtower that Moriel mentioned. In many ways, it's little more than raised foundations, with the last remnants of stonework forming a half-crown, long smoothed by years of exposure to the elements. A statue of a long-forgotten hero lays cracked in half, perched against the highest remaining part of the tower's walls, and its face has mostly been worn away by time. But there is a sense of grief that clings here, and the icy wind whips around the tower, cutting into your faces as you go up the rise.
Well, I'm going to tie up Gwyneth and I'm going to climb up as high as I can get.
I'm going to take a rubbing of the face of the statue. Someone must remember these forgotten places.
Oh, I don't think I know this one.
Dace sets himself near the opening and is just prepared. He's got his long sword out, but he's got his bow in his hands at the moment.
The sunlight is also sort of picking up above the
I'm going to quickly have
horizon
a
now.
snack while I can.
But you can still hear wargs yelping. A lot of them seem to be coming from that westerly direction that the rangers led them off in.
Should
Are
we
they
make
getting
a
closer?
fire? Do you reckon?
Well, it can't hurt at this point. They know where we're at.
Are they closing in on us?
Not yet.
Give me an insight roll, maybe, or awareness, or
I can give you an awareness roll to see what they're doing.
Can I smoke my pipe?
I'm actually going to
You
try. I'm going to
can.
actually go and search the watchtower for anything really cool, because this is like an ancient place, and my
okay.
tome finder. I'm always interested if there's something hidden.
Yeah. Right on. Wow.
Oh, I get 2.
Can't see
well,
anything.
I mean,
No idea what's happening.
All the dice on the.
it's just
There's all these dice on the
rolling
thing
everywhere.
just bashing into each other. It's like.
Yeah.
Does it allow you to do that cheating thing where you can like roll a dice to hit one of your other dice?
Don't think so. I'm pretty sure the number's already determined
I know.
before it rolls.
Oh, boo.
But so yeah, are you all peering out? You
I'm
all
using
sort-
insight to try and work it out. As I'm pondering my.
I was
On the
also
old pipe.
using insight to work out where they're going to come from, so I know where to start aiming.
And Dace was just using awareness to try to count and track their numbers and see what the opposition looked like.
And I've got a bit of magical help from my ring.
Is it
How
a
many potatoes are they
you-
carrying?
Are you using your ring? Because then it'll be a magical success, and your success will be very obvious and like magical to the point
yeah,
where
I mean,
everyone goes, "What's happening?"
I mean, it's only a magic ring. You can take them lightly. So yeah, he's just wearing it.
Robin Burrows takes a puff of his pipe, and for the first time, you notice a ring on his fingers that you haven't even noticed there before, as if a hidden heirloom of, because hobbits like handing down magic rings, apparently. But as you release the puff, Robin, it comes out in a great wafting cloud, and it almost seems to form like the landscape ahead of you. And you see the vague traces of wargs running off to the southwesternly direction, heading straight across. There's a few other dark groups that appear within the pipe smoke, but most of them seem to be retreating back into darkness, and it dissipates in front of you. But everyone watching just sees this ridiculously detailed smoke map appear and are quite concerned, probably.
I'm very interested in the ring now.
Sigrun, you can hear them. You're pretty sure if they were to come, they're going to come up the steep rise that you ran up with your horses.
I'm going to focus in
and
that
that would
direction
also
and get
be
ready
the
to shoot the
most
crap out of the
defensible.
first thing I see.
Base, you hear numbers of wargs rushing in a great pack against chasing down the rangers, but you also hear upon the wind the vague noise of what you're assuming from memory is the foul tongue of orcs, and there seem to be little groups of them scattered around, but they don't appear to be moving anymore as daylight rises. And as it rises, you can also sort of look out along the plains towards the hills, and you see two figures rushing across in the distance and disappearing behind the crests of hills reappearing and then disappearing into forest area as they eventually fade from view. Yeah. So the sun comes up on a new morning. Vidar, you looking around?
Yeah, what do I need to roll to search the place?
Scan, usually.
Scan? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
I'm gonna
indeed what
scan.
I was just making sure.
That'll do.
You don't really find any items as this place is quite barren and clearly there's signs of where it's been burnt down long ago and destroyed by axes and hammers and great stones. But what remains of it behind a half-broken pillar towards the end, you come across some markings in some old form of the tongue of men written down somehow. It's probably something quite interesting.
I'll take
there
a rubbing.
appears, yeah.
Yep. Checking there's no orcs about to jump out and stab me, but taking a rubbing of the markings on
There
this.
appears to be sort of a tracing of a figure next to it that's also worn down with a winged helmet on, pointing towards these words that you've taken a rubbing.
I'll have to ask the humans about this later.
Yeah. So yeah, morning has risen. Who do you think was hugged last by Moriel?
Probably Giles. He was the nicest of us.
Giles.
Who?
Something crumples or creaks in your jacket pocket as you're moving. You just hear a slight, like the crumple of paper.
Well, no, papers go in my satchel. That's my message bag. Why would I have... Ooh, I'm going to look at that.
Sort of just tucked in between, yeah.
How did that get there? I don't understand that at the moment. What's that all about?
So, how many horses do you have again? 2 ponies and 1 horse?
Well,
Or
I've got
2
a pony.
ponies and 3 and 2 horses?
Pete's got a pony. Roger's got a pony.
Yeah.
Alden, have you got a pony?
No.
No. So 1 horse, 2 ponies.
Yeah. The note is just a quickly scrawled note that says, check the horses' satchels.
Well, that's odd. Why would I write myself a note?
It doesn't appear to be in your hand.
Maybe I use my left hand. Oh,
That can
below
happen.
go.
End up
Sigrun,
writing yourself.
Sigrun, do you mind if I have a look in your saddlebags?
If you like, there's some clothes in there.
All right.
A few jewels, nothing extravagant.
All right. Have you ever had that experience where you find a letter that you don't remember having written in your clothes?
Have you considered that maybe someone else wrote it?
But then it would be in my satchel, because that's where the other letters that other people write go.
And not if they gave it to you,
But
like right up close or something.
But nobody gave me a letter. I would put it in my satchel if they gave me a letter.
What does the letter say, Giles?
Let's have a look in the saddlebags, shall
It
we?
says
Be
look in
careful,
the
my maps are in there.
saddlebags. That's why I was wanting to look in the saddle, but I wanted to
So
ask
I'll
first.
open up my saddlebags and start
Rude.
going through them.
Otherwise,
In your saddlebag, there's a folded letter, and then
like
a
a treasure
sealed
hunt.
letter, and then a small wrapped package, which is about this sort of size.
Right, well, I think we can safely say that the letter's from someone else. Probably one of our 2 guests from last night, because this isn't mine. What's it
Right.
say in the letter?
I'll let you read it.
Oh dear. It's a sorrowful thing that we should have to place our burden upon you. Yet we must ask that you forgive our subterfuge. Your path shall be walked that much later without dark shadows at your back. We will lead the orc band off into the wilderness in the west for as long as such strength as we possess allows. We must ask this of you. It is imperative that the bundle and letter reach Rivendell. Much in the future may rest on your success. Watch the roads and the shadows as the enemy's spies see much in these darkening days. Trust that what you carry is wondrous enough to ensure evil agents will harry your journey. We bid you fair travels and hope, perhaps forlornly, that we might chance to meet you again. Moriel, daughter of Meriath and Erdan, son of Ervan. Well, that's unfortunate.
Oh, that's just pish. I knew we should have gone with them. That's
Well, so did I. I
nonsense.
told them they should have come with us.
Well, it looks like
Safety
they
in
thought
numbers.
that. It looks like they thought their mission was more important than their lives, so we should take it as seriously.
Well, absolutely. We've got to deliver this to Rivendell. I mean, hospitality
Yep.
demands it, if nothing else.
Rangers
The
are so
sealed letter
grim.
appears to be addressed to Elrond Half-Elven.
Right, well, I'm going to put that one in my message satchel. That'll keep it safe.
That's probably a good idea. How big is this package?
It's this sort of size.
It's a bit big for your bag. Do you want to
Like
leave it in the
shoebox?
saddlebag?
Or you think that
What
one
of-
might go? I have another satchel when I'm
What have I
dealing
got
with the
that's
large
roughly that
packages,
size?
but
Rugby.
I've
Um,
got that one with me. It's back
that-
at Bree.
This sort of size.
The invisible
Yeah.
knife size. Excellent.
Yeah.
Right-o.
Sigrun, I would recommend that you keep that in your saddlebag, and if necessary, ride hard onto Rivendell if we get set upon.
Right you are, then.
Or you think that might be the treasure that the orcs are after?
No wondrous item can be allowed to fall into the hands of the shadow.
No. The enemy must not be given any weapons.
May I have a little look before you whisk it away?
Not a lot to look at. It's all wrapped up, my friend.
Don't unwrap packages here.
No,
Master
no.
Binder.
We got a letter
Can
from
if
Elrond
you want.
Half-Elven and a mysterious package that looks kind of stabby. But you can read this letter that the nice folk have left us.
What did I miss? Sorry. Sorry.
Read my letter
You should
as
be
well.
able to see the letter.
Oh,
It's not as exciting.
It's in your handout.
Sorry, I'm looking at the.
It was up a minute
I'm looking
ago.
at OBS, not the thing. So.
Well, Ben will just have to read it again.
I just
Yeah.
closed it now.
I've got
Ben
it, don't
did
worry.
a very
I've got
good
it.
job reading it. So.
Well, I
did,
read
it was
it in
very
character,
good.
didn't I?
You did.
Mhm.
Your character's infectious, by the way.
Really? Because it sounds like you're talking from across the Irish Sea, my friend.
It's Celtic.
I suppose it's a bit North Walian, isn't it?
Right.
Okay. So yeah, you have come into the possession of a sealed letter to Elrond Half-Elven, a package of some kind that you don't know what it contains.
But it looks stagger-like.
Both.
It looks a bit stabby.
But that was the size I
I think that was for
the package.
scale.
Oh, that's for
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah, I mean,
right,
Lewis has
okay.
only got
Uh,
weapons lying around to use for scale.
Yeah, it's the only thing
things.
he's got.
It's only
Yeah,
fair.
but that's-
He's not got
I-
a shoebox or anything.
It's like,
I mean,
is it
I'm not-
Gladius
I'm not
size or is it Nodachi size?
not going to quickly run out of daggers. Don't worry. And I've got some swords next to me.
Got a couple of dirks and a few stilettos and a few knives.
Well, then, my friends,
Big
it looks
fuck
like
off
we
sharp
should,
ones.
looks like we need to plan a
Small sword. if you want.
journey to Rivendell and
Well,
get
it does
about
change our
business.
travel plans, but it's going to be more interesting than going back to Bree empty-handed.
Well, I mean,
Aye.
Bree is on the way, so unless we're avoiding the roads, in which case,
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Do we cut across
Now-
country?
it's a
Yeah.
it's a blimey long way if we don't take the roads.
Now we come to the journey phase where you'll have to think about how you want to do it. So yeah, I think you could do it into as either one very long, large journey, which is going to be quite wearisome, or in 2 steps, traveling to your safe haven of Bree and then onwards, or straight across country and trying to.
No, I think you're right. We go cross country to Bree to try to get them off our trail, and then we take the road from Bree to Rivendell.
At the moment, you're sort of here. On the opposite side of you, you can hear the rushing of the brandy wine down away from the tower.
Well, I think there's an argument to be made for either course, isn't there? We could just go cross country, but then we're at as much of a disadvantage as they are. If we go on the roads, then we'll be quicker, but we'll also be easier to track. However, we'll be harder to attack. But if we go cross country, we'll be harder to track, but easier to attack.
On the road, there are many of my folk who make their way east and west along that road.
And if we make our way to Bree, then my folk will help protect us and we'll drive back these vile doers. I mean, frankly, they tracked 2 of them. They were your folk, weren't they, Dace?
Yes, they were the
tracked 2 rangers right the way down from the north. I don't think they have any trouble tracking us lot.
I'm inclined to agree, but I'm also somewhat doubtful of the strength of the men of Bree, present company accepted. From what I've seen,
I would say this. I would hate to.
Everyone take valor tests as you all start bickering and
we're
fall
not bickering,
to shadow.
we're discussing.
Well, I would like to go via Bree because I could use some supplies.
Well, it looks like we're all in agreement on Bree, and we're going to go across country. Now let's be about it. And when we get to Bree, we can understand if this shadow is still following us so closely, and whether or not we could take the road.
Well said, Master Vidar.
Okay.
So that's 2 for cross country to Bree.
Yeah. So before you get fully into the journey phase, what is your current plan for crossing the rather large river?
How far do we have? Oh, okay, yeah.
First, you're going to need to somehow cross the Brandywine or the Norburn, which is that little estuary bit here. Not estuary, sort of tributary. Although, yeah.
How did we cross it the first time when we left Bree?
You tell me. That could set you up to cross it back.
I think we crossed it at a ford in the river, which is where we were headed to when we got stopped. So I think we go back to that ford and cross there.
Aye.
Okay.
I think I remember the way back to the ford.
So
it would be right to lead orcs
explore
to
and travel
anyway.
come in handy in this kind of situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So who is going to be your guide? The person leading the travel and the journey itself?
That would be
There's
travel.
a mechanical element there, isn't there?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Basically, your guide will... Their travel roll will set the pace for how far you manage to get without running into any situations that could potentially harm you or cause fatigue. In mechanical terms.
Mechanically, travel 3 favoured.
Travel 3 favoured
been
and
rolling like
successes.
shit.
I've got travel 3, not favoured, but a target number of 14.
Yeah. So
What my
I
target
think
number is?
Vidar...
It'll be under heart.
Mine's 16, but I can do magical successes on travel.
Damn it, I did magical. Oh no, I didn't. Okay. It's okay. For a magical success, what that means is you can spend one hope
and just get a magical
and then
success.
it's an automatic success that's obvious to everyone.
Well, that would be me getting the maps out, and then a few of the symbols and the runes and the things would like glow, and I would be like as shocked almost as the others, because I'm kind of discovering all these things. I have to spend a hope for that, though, don't I?
Yeah. So
We're all seasoned travellers, so I think given
guide,
that, it may be
a
best
hunter,
to...
a scout and a lookout. And other than guide, you can double up on the other rolls.
Well,
So I
I'll take
think
care
Dace-
of hunting.
Dace would definitely take care of being the lookout.
Yeah, that's
What
His
are the-
awareness is
What are
high.
the other roles? And
So
what skills do they
hunter, lookout,
involve? Oh, hunter's
and
hunter.
And scout.
and scout.
What
so
does
scout
use?
explore.
And yeah. So scouts explore,
Actually.
Lookouts use awareness, and hunters use hunting.
Has anyone else got 3 explore?
I've got 2 with a target of 15 and magical.
Yeah, what's mine? I've got 3 with a target of 14 and magical. But I don't want to. If I don't have to spend a point of hope, actually, because if Giles is good at travel, then Giles could do travel and I could do scout.
Sounds like a plan. We should defer to the locals. So that's Robin or Giles. You know the area best.
I'm not much good for anything else. Hunting and whatever the other thing was.
Well, I think we got everything else covered, because if Robin is exploring, I'm the lookout, and Sigrun is hunting, and Giles is the guide. I mean, I think we're in pretty good
Hope my
shape.
feet could find their way home at least.
Yeah, that way I don't have to spend a hope point
Yeah,
straight
don't you
away.
worry about hunting.
Why would you not want to spend hope points?
Because I've only got 11.
It's not that far to Rivendell.
You only get help back when you go into fellowship phase or spend fellowship
And-
points.
Don't
So
listen to
Yeah,
him.
and as we all know, most of Eriador is quite safe. There's never anything out there in the wilds.
I'll let
And
someone else spend some
everything-
hope for a bit. I've only got 11.
stop
Everyone,
me.
Yeah.
the others have got a bit more.
It's nice. It's just
Well-
a stroll through the countryside pursued by orcs and wards.
Can
someone
I
just
assist Giles in the?
you have to spend
In
a
the
hope
travel
to
roll.
assist.
I have to spend a
Yeah.
hope to assist.
to assist to basically that? Then you.
I'm
give
looking at
them
the rubbing I
one-
did of that thing then.
Yeah. So that's where your fellowship bonds come in. So if you spend 1 hope to assist someone, they get 1 dice. But if it's your fellowship bond, then they get 2 dice. But obviously, the downside of that is if horrible things happen to them, you're also going to
Get
begin
shadow.
despairing.
What does favor do for the roll?
You get
Easy
2
roll.
favor
You roll
dice.
2
Dice.
d12s and keep the highest.
Oh, cool, because Explorer is favored for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So, first off, but this isn't sort of in the journey bit, someone who's possibly assisted can roll travel to get back to the ford that you used to bridge the Brandywine.
Let me see if I remember the way.
And you're going to get back to it, but your travel roll will be an indicator of how you find it when you get there.
Push roll twice. It's not doing anything.
Is it hidden behind your character sheet or something? It comes with a pop-up box?
Is it paused?
Let's see, pause.
Oh, sorry. I have a terrible habit of doing that, yeah.
Is it not paused?
It's no
Still
longer
paused.
paused.
No, it's paused.
I think it's paused.
It's not on mine.
Uh-oh.
Might take a second. Catch up.
Talk among yourselves.
Oh, how are you enjoying traveling the world?
What's your favourite
Wonderful.
ale at the Prancing Pony?
The world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen. I'll be singing a bit as we go.
Alright, well, everyone's paused then. Let's get a bit of second breakfast going.
Hi, Mr. Borrows. You got any of those chips left? I was thinking, could we have done dog and chips?
No dog.
Don't want to eat a dog.
We're not eating dog.
Joking.
So yeah, for misdeeds, you can also get shadow points.
That's right.
I mean,
that's got to be a lot of shadow points
Yeah.
right there.
I think
You
that
need a
depends on
dog.
how cute the dog was.
I was joking with the Hobbit.
It was a warg, so I don't know
Well,
if
like
it
a
can be
Pomeranian,
counted.
you could probably eat one of those without too much trouble.
I
Like
see
a nice
you're not,
dog.
You're not up with the refined nature of dwarven humour.
No humour in eating a dog. Give us a nice check-in any day. Ooh, tasty.
Don't get a lot of chickens out here, but I'll see what I can find.
Oh, a geese or a duck could do
I think
nice.
Giles passed.
Alright,
And then
Did
Dave-
you?
Yeah, you got
Ah.
a success. You rolled a 15.
okay. I have no idea. I'm still trying to get back into Forge.
And then
Yeah, so am I.
and then Dace rolled and got a 17 on a
I was just trying to see if I could roll.
If you
So
could roll.
Yeah.
Well, take
Yeah.
the success.
So you all hot-foot it back towards this ford, and as you get to it, you can see in the distance the river's slightly rising as the ice along the Evendim is melting and flowing downstream. But at the moment, the ford is still clear, and you can make your way across it. Almost there. Oh, slowed it.
I think we'll trot across it
Yeah.
pretty quick.
And then you can plot out your route.
So we get across the ford.
You are across the banks, and yeah, you're back
We're heading for Bree.
slightly closer towards the greenway, and definitely on the right side for traveling down to Bree.
Right.
I mean, I
Right.
can just look at the map here.
Step lively.
But yeah, at this point, this is the point where we're gonna have to plot out your route.
It's only 21 feet to Bree. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's from where you are, 1, 2,
How was it on there?
about 6 hexes,
Yeah.
5 or 6 hexes.
Is a hex a
6
day?
hexes in a straight line
Yes.
walking towards Bree.
Every hex is a day's travel, and based on your travel rolls, it'll show you how many hexes you travel unhindered.
Okay.
if you fail, you travel 2 hexes before you. Get
In
an
this case,
encounter.
it's going to be 1 because it's still technically winter.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's right.
That's why I started it off at
Oh, thanks.
You crafty weasel.
Just to push it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that in the front of the book there's a nicely drawn map, and then in the back of the book there's your hex map,
It's the hex map
Mhm.
for the
which is pretty cool.
Lore Master. Yeah.
Freelance Wildland. Oh, we're going through Wildlands.
Yes.
Yeah, we've just come out of
For the people at home.
Darklands.
No, it's this bit.
No.
Invisible book.
Put
Invisible book.
my face here.
Oh,
so
there you go. There you go.
You can see it.
That's good.
That's what the beard's for.
There you go. Now you know why I have to keep the beard. It's purely for
All right.
camera issues.
So we're going total cross country straight to Bree. Is that the plan?
Yes.
All right then. We got enough taters.
What?
Oh, that's why we need to go to Bree.
How
Right
far
then.
do we have to plot out our journey? Do we have to plot it all the way to Rivendell, or do
all
we?
the no, in this
No.
case, it's split. You're going to split it up in legs as you're
Okay.
going to Bree first.
Cool.
So it will be a travel to Bree, and then from there you'll plot out a journey after maybe staying there for a day or so, and then you'll plot out a journey towards Rivendell.
So it's pretty much a straight shot cross country.
Okay.
Or do we want to
Um,
hit the road and then come down?
Well, that's why I was asking.
Do we want to
but-
cut across the road and then come down?
Sounds like
Yeah.
we just want to go straight
So
cross country.
yeah, you could either go down
Could go
straight
that way.
across, down towards
Mm.
That way.
the east-west road, or across to the Greenway and down.
I think across and down, because if we want to keep them as far away from Hobbiton as we can.
Aye.
So we don't want to be going that way. If we can avoid keeping
Don't want a host
orcs
of
and
orcs
wargs
wandering
out
into-
of the Shire, that's what we want. Sorry about that. Hang on, where is it? There it is. Right, yes, we want to keep orcs and wargs out of the Shire.
All those tasty hobbits.
Well, it's a courtesy, if nothing else.
Hello, and welcome back to the One Ring, where our heroic band of heroes are just about to set off on their first journey phase as they head to Bree with some speed. In the meantime, while we were away, they have settled on a route being basically straight across down from where they've crossed the Brandywine straight to Bree, across as much empty land as they can find.
No
Also turns
hesitation.
out that they don't make any special cheese in Brie.
No cheese at all in Brie. Well known, canon.
That's
Right, let's
right.
be about it then.
So,
Truck
who
with that
is
nonsense.
the guide?
Oh, I
And
think
can
that-
the guide give me a travel roll?
my feet will guide us home. Hopefully.
You're in wildlands, so it's just a flat travel roll.
Wildlands.
As Darklands give you an ill-fated roll, and
Oh, it's
nice.
close. That was
Lands.
almost the Eye of Sauron then. It was teetering.
Ooh.
This way.
So yeah, you put full speed and travel fast across the empty plains ahead of you between the edge of the Brandywine and Bree, and you're roughly gonna pull up. Well, I suppose I'll move the token a bit,
Oh yeah.
Just
as it's probably, as I can see the hex map as well, so I know roughly where you're gonna end up. Here-ish.
Oh, come on, Giles. That's not.
Yeah, no, you managed to move 3 hexes basically.
Oh, wicked. That's good.
Closer to
Bree.
Yeah, it's probably maybe a bit more like that, because you're pretty much one successful roll away from
I'm more
getting there.
fleet when I'm on the roads, you see, but I will take
I have
us
the same. I'm the same.
towards home. I can almost
it's
smell
my
the hard
turn to
roast
roll.
from here.
On the, how long does it take us to get there?
It's going to be about 6 days travel.
Okay.
Bad.
Well,
Hunter.
Okay. Yep. Dace knows what I'm doing.
mm.
6 is
Uh-oh.
never good.
Oh, there's an 8 on that 12-sided die. Lovely
That's not
roll.
bad. That's pretty good.
Lovely roll
Yeah,
on those
no.
12-sided dice there.
Yeah.
You like 12-sided
so-
dice, Pete?
Yeah.
It's
You
the
should have
best
said
dice,
something.
after all.
So, who is the hunter?
I am the hunter. You better bloody believe I'm the hunter.
As you're chasing down a brace of conies that
What a great
Bunch of
success.
rabbits.
That's a bloody pig, that is. That's a wild boar I'm chasing.
No, well, here's the thing. You follow them, and unfortunately, a couple of them manage to get away after you pin a few, but you want enough for supper for everyone. So you chase them down, and your feet take you down between these sort of low hills into a shallow trench that seems to lead almost half the way again to Bree. And you reckon if you follow it down, you could probably cut a day off of your journey. And to the sides of you, as you're traveling down it, you can see big slabs of stones, as if at one point it had been sort of used as a trench of some kind to protect an area around it. but it leads you quite quickly, and you cut a day off of your journey.
But everybody gets one fatigue.
And you get one fatigue, yeah. But you also, I believe, get an extra day cut off for your great success if you want to use it for that. So basically, you end up within a day's travel of Bree.
I think I found a shortcut while I was out.
Well
that
done,
turned
Severin.
out quite well.
Also, I got some money.
Give me another travel roll.
Oh, all right then. Well, I've been shown up by all right. Well, going by the old ways. Not used to that at all.
Not a competition. Just trying to help.
Well, I don't know a bloody clue where we're going. Can't see nothing from down this trench. Am I meant to navigate?
He knew where he was until you led him down there.
I'm bloody lost now.
Huh?
Oh,
The scout.
Ooh,
Stuff is happening.
that's nice.
Yeah.
when Aaron says that's nice, that probably means we're about
No.
to fight a horde of monsters.
Kind of
Actually,
no.
it's pretty good.
It
Okay.
could be
Really
good.
nice.
Okay,
Could
cool.
just
So who are the scouts? The company scouts.
I can scout.
Let's explore. Yep.
Yeah, I can scout.
I think I'm one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we can double up on that one. So makes sense to have two
Yeah.
scouts.
Okay then.
Do we need to roll for
So
that?
you may whoever is the scout may roll for it.
Go on,
And
Robin.
someone can assist.
I will assist. Do I
did.
have to spend hope to assist?
I'll say in
Or can I
You
just
can
roll?
have
Doesn't really
multiple. You can have
yeah,
multiple
yeah,
explorers.
multiple.
Everybody rolls twice.
I'll just roll.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Thank you.
There you go.
4 fours.
Robin is distracted as you come out into the clearing again.
He spots
Some
an
wild
apple.
garlic
In
over
the
there.
distance, in the distance, you can see the outline of Bree, but a sharp cawing draws your attention away, Robin, and you look up to a tree by your side. And a large crow is sat there peering down at you. A Vidar who comes up behind, and it caws again. But
He wants chips.
as it does, a soft voice sounds from behind Vidar's back and says, "Away with you now." And it lurches off as if chased away by some force.
Dane's beard.
What the bloody hell
Behind
was
you,
that?
behind you stands an elf who has broken away from a company that they were leading from the road not far away, off to the west. And other than this one who's next to you, who seems to be clad in almost luminous whites, they're all cloaked in white, and they seem to be slowly moving onwards on the path west,
Oh,
likely
warn them
to
about the
Linden
orcs.
and Greyhaven.
Hey, watch out, there's orcs roving these lands.
Aye.
They've chased us cross country.
Your many thanks for your warning. I hope you have. I wish you great travels yourself on whatever it is that brings you out this far.
Thank you, and I wish you a safe travel to the Greyhavens and beyond.
Thank you. And that there's like a slight sound of singing, of elvish singing that picks up in the air.
Just kind of stood
and
agape
you
looking
all-
at elves.
You all look on as you watch this procession of elves move off down towards the west.
I've not seen an elf before.
No, don't get too excited.
They look
Right.
quite shiny.
They're right
So-
tall, they are. And
Everyone
right
can
willowy.
recover 1 hope if they have spent 1, and you don't gain any extra fatigue for that travel roll.
Seen that many before.
Where's fatigue on the couch sheet, by the way?
It's
down under
next to load,
resources.
because basically every point of
Oh, it's
fatigue
tiny.
raises your load.
Share the load.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay, gotcha.
And yeah, you arrive then at the end of the day in Bree.
Ah, home.
The gates are still open. The warden asks you no questions as you pass, as it is still daytime, and they happily invite you in to enjoy the town of Bree.
Afternoon,
It does seem a
Alfred.
little quiet, but other than that, it is the Bree that you all know and have travelled to or through before. And there's a collective sigh of relief as a slight sense of weight drops from you
I
as you
must
walk
have a
into
word
the streets.
with the watchmen and the wardens. Just let them know
Yeah.
what might be following after.
Well,
You
I'll get us
can-
some rooms
you
at
can
the
do
inn.
that.
Well, tell my
Okay.
uncle you're with me. You get better rate.
What are you
Yeah.
doing now? I'm going to go buy some ingredients.
So yeah, you're at I don't know who wants to do what first, but
Giles, is there a library here in Bree?
I
I can't remember last time.
Well, the Prancing Pony has a saloon that has a few books. I think passing travellers will leave
Alright.
something behind.
Right.
They can't
well, I
cover their
guess-
bill.
Guess that'll
Yeah,
have to do,
but-
and I'll have an ale while I'm there. Maybe 3.
Helps
You,
with the
uh,
reading.
yeah. If yourself and Sigrund enter the Prancing Pony, is anyone else going there? It's also the ideal place to put up your horses and ponies themselves, give them food and everything.
I'll be following, but I need to talk to the watch.
Quick question. So this counts as the end of our first journey phase, right?
Yes, yeah.
So everybody can reduce their fatigue by their
yeah.
vigor of their mount and then roll travel to try to reduce it further.
Yeah. I think pretty much you can count that at this point you're also going to have a prolonged rest, so you'll be fit to travel out
Because we're
on
on
the
two
full
fatigue.
leg. Yeah.
But with your horse's vigor or your fine
Yeah.
pony's vigor, you'd actually have
I'd be-
0.
Yeah, I'd be fine. That's cool.
All right then. Well, into the Prancing Pony, I guess.
I
That
know.
one in this whole town.
A
Clearly not
It's like-
based on a British village, is it?
the proprietor Barleyman Butterbur, who is somewhat younger than some of us may remember him, invites you in, and he's greatly happy to see you. As the inside of the Prancing Pony seems a little bit empty. He says, "Ain't been much folk come up from the roads today. What
Well, we've a
brings
whole
you
party
here?"
for you, Master Butterbur. Your nephew Giles is with us. He'll be joining us shortly. He said to come on ahead and
Oh,
sort out
right
some
you are.
rooms.
Right you are. I'll set you up with some food then, and you'll be wanting rooms.
Yes. How many rooms do we want? 3? Is 3 enough? Giles, are you staying with your mum?
Well, I'll stay in the tap room.
Who wants a room then? I mean, obviously,
Fine.
I'm gonna have a room.
I
Wouldn't be
will raise
seemly.
my hand
You'll have a
and
room.
an ale.
No,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
not there.
don't worry about that. Don't worry about food and drink. That's all sorted. Dace, do you want a room?
Well, normally I would pass, but a room does sound nice.
All right, so there's four rooms. One of them hobbit-sized.
I'll get Knob right on that.
And is it possible to get a bath drawn?
Certainly. I do believe, though, there's someone here you might want to be speaking with, as I last saw you with him before you left.
Who might that be?
He's in the back in a booth. Pointy-head fella.
Sarkun.
Round here we call him Gandalf, but yeah.
Well, it'll be good to speak with him then. Here we have much to share.
Well, please bring a round of beers and a bottle of some mead if you have such a thing.
Also, I understand you have an extensive lending library for travellers. I was wondering if I could peruse your...
We've got some books here that... I mean, we just pile up what books is left here.
Right, well, I better have a look then. Right.
There's a fairly judicious pile of books that are just slung there. Some of them are half open. They're on a table at the back.
I'm often also just quite interested in what people of a region might write about, like to help to try and understand them a bit, you know.
Farmer's Almanac.
Crop rotation methods of the lower farthing.
My next week, I'm gonna have to write an entire D20 books of the Prancing Pony.
The Great Cheese Wars of the lands of Bree.
No cheese.
That's why there's no more cheese.
No.
We all swore off the cheese. The armistice.
Right then, well, if you could bring some drinks through, we'll go and see himself straight away while you're getting all the rooms and baths and things ready. And what's on the menu for tonight, sir?
Well, we've got stew and more stew, and I can cut you up some...
I'll take two.
Some cheese.
Any chance of a roast if we throw you a little extra?
You may have to chuck him the beast to roast. Have you got any of those gooses left?
I'll see what I can do. Knob. And you see a little hobbit run in.
I know Giles was after a pig roast if you had such a thing, but whatever roast you can do would be lovely. We've been living off of goose and stew and things like that, so a bit of a change is wonderful.
And chips.
You might want to have a word with Mr. Burrows about his chips. He's very good.
Yeah.
Don't ask him about his
Mr.
recipe,
Burrows.
though. He gets very sensitive about the recipe.
I ain't seen you around here for a while. Are you come to bring us some more potatoes?
Oh, I wasn't actually there. I went off to try and buy some food, some ingredients.
Okay.
And then we'll go into the back and meet up with himself. But I'll let you move over to Tubbers.
Yeah, Dace has already walked back to Gandalf. He's leaving the food conversation alone.
All right, Gandalf.
I've met Gandalf though, and I know he likes food and booze.
As you come into the room, it's thick with a light bluish smoke.
Mine's been addled by the hobbit's leaf.
He appears to be smoking contently in a corner as his big bushy eyebrows are furrowed, and
he's got three
thinking
tubes
about
of Pringles
something
around him as well.
Thinking very hard. There's a couple of empty plates of stew and a big old pint of beer next to him. Giles, what are you telling the wardens?
I need to warn them that we ran into some orcs and we ran into some wargs. But we've been told there might be an orc party following after, coming cross country.
Well, now I don't think they'll come down here. Rarely do we see such things this far down. Breeze are pretty quiet place.
Yeah, well, rarely do we have a warg trying to eat our dwarf, but, times is odd.
Now wargs and wolves and the like, that's another problem. I'll set the wardens up to
I
go
think that'd be best.
take a look around.
All right, then. You be careful
Yeah.
now. If you need me, I'll be in the tap room.
Oh, I think we know where you'll be, Mr. Butterbur.
I might need to borrow a pony. Is there anyone I can borrow a pony off?
Well, most of the ponies are kept at the Prancing Pony. Best paid place
You
for
think
them
you're
with the
funny,
stables and all.
Alfred, don't you? You think you're a funny wag. Do you know why we keep you on the outside of the gate? It's because you're not.
I thought it was because I like to ask questions what I shouldn't. Of
Well,
people
nothing-
what I shouldn't be asking questions
Well,
of.
curiosity is a jolly fun thing, and I like a bit of inquisitiveness, but, wagging, not so handy. Especially when my throat be dry.
Well, off with you then. If the wardens find anything, I'll let you know.
Thank you kindly.
Went all over the place there, but there you go.
With so many accents flying around, it's difficult.
The
Oh, so
roving
many,
peasant
yeah.
accent.
Generic peasant. We're trying to cover them all. I think that's what's happening here. Right, my duck.
Lots.
You right, my lover.
Yarp.
Blimey.
I think it always be me inner Norwich that tries to come out.
Oh, you can't go wrong with a bit of arch.
Arch. All right, then.
All them vowels are at the end.
Right then.
Hey up, Falcone.
Gandalf, I imagine at some point after Robin has, unless you specifically want to get something that might be hard to come by.
Not really. I mean, I'm basically
Potatoes.
after
Just just
food.
getting
Lots of
stocks for the
What about some
further
parsnips?
journey.
Parsnips.
Parsnips are fine, but I'm just trying to.
Maybe a nice
Stock up
mangle
on-
wurzel.
Now, parsnips are the cruelest things to make chips of, because once they're fried, they look like chips, and then you bite into them and are sorely disappointed.
You cover
My
them in
wife
honey.
is chuckling in the
Cover-
background. It's an evil laugh.
Cover them in honey when you cook them, and then they're delicious.
Interestingly
Yeah,
enough, though,
true.
parsnip wine tastes
but-
like oranges.
The thing is, I don't mind eating them. It's just I like to know
stealth
that they're
parsnip.
that. Yeah.
Keeps its nasty
If you see a
parsnips.
chip and you think it's a chip and it's a parsnip, that's
Oh, yeah.
disappointing.
There's more than one way to make taters. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Anyway, Gandalf looks at you all, pulls on his pipe and goes, "Ah, my friends, you've returned. And not a moment too soon. What news do you bring from your
Grim
travels?"
tidings, I'm afraid, Graham. We encountered some Dunedain out of the north, not far from here, just a couple of days' travel, bearing a missive for Elrond of Rivendell. They've charged
Elrond,
us
you
to
say?
deliver it, and they've gone
Well,
off into
that
the
is-
west in an attempt to draw off the servants of the shadow that we encountered in the wilderness.
Hmm.
Vidar
That
took a
does-
bite to the arm from a warg, you know.
I'm going to put a warg tooth on the table. Aye. Well, it was a pretty uneventful watch, but it was fun.
I had a sense that you might find something out there. Come
I'm going
Come
to put the
sit
rubbing
with
down
me
on the table and
and
be like,
yeah.
look at this, Thalcone, look. Look at the ancient scriptures and writings that I found. I'm surely you understand this tongue. having
There are
Norse, and I'll
many,
ramble
many
for like 5 minutes until everyone tells me to shut
interesting
up and they can get
questions
on
here.
with the. Yeah.
And I think it would be best if we take counsel together and plot them through. And at that point, we'll go over into a council phase as you all gather together around Gandalf. But if you don't mind, I think we'll leave that for next time.
Sounds
as
good.
we fade out from Bree. And you're all sat around with Gandalf drinking beer and smoking pipes.
Cool.
See you in
There
Reese
you go.
19.
Very cool. Thanks, Lewis. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for. Yeah, we're not allowed to do that for copyright reasons.
That's all right.
3
I'm so
seconds.
bad at music.
Yeah,
You can do 3 seconds.
I keep wanting to, but I have to resist.
It's for review purposes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone watching at home, for joining us here on Garblag Games, and thank you to my wonderful players who really got into the spirit of things as well. What else is coming up on Garblag not this
Well, you know
this
what day
week
is it?
and
It's
next
Thursday.
week? It's Thursday, yeah.
Is there anything North American tonight? Yes, there is, but Aaron's
It's on
on
mute.
mute, so we don't know what it is.
That is true.
It's cancelled.
Yes. At 9 o'clock Central
finale, isn't
Standard Time, it is the finale of Romanian Imperative for Achin Cthulhu. And then next week we will start Starfinder.
Ooh.
But don't worry, if you're a big fan of the Achin Cthulhu, we're gonna alternate every other week. So the following week we'll be back to Achin Cthulhu.
And it's still
Very
on
nice.
Aaron.
That's right.
Oh,
Friday.
Aaron's GMing debut is tomorrow.
awesome.
Yep. I will be the keeper
TPK.
for
TPK.
And they're all
The
going to
very
die.
end of the Anderson verse.
Agent Anderson will probably walk out of it. But anybody else says, who knows?
Yeah, after that, it's a new season, new actors
That's
come
right.
in, new
New-
characters.
New
Yeah.
cast, new
Paz and
characters.
Aggie are
Picked up
screwed
by a
and
different
Leopold's dead.
channel.
Leopold's immortal and immaterial. He'll be fine. You might have to retreat to the Fae for a while. We were all getting a bit OP anyway.
Monster of the Week, in case you were wondering.
Mhm.
Regular Monster of the Week, not some kind of sick mashup.
Oh,
Who
my
would
God.
do such a thing?
Oh, deviants.
And then back round on Tuesday for more Pathfinder. But not Lex Arcana next week, is it, Roger?
No, it's
No,
not
it's
following.
Oh, it's Wrath and Glory.
Oh, is it
next
Wrath and
week.
Glory next week?
That Wrath and
Yeah.
Glory, the character creation
Oh.
episode. Wrath and
Awesome.
Glory, the Bellerophon Index.
Yeah. We're alternating
Year
now.
one adventure where we're going to be alternating, yes, between Lex Arcana and Wrath and Glory
What's going
for a
on?
while.
So many shows, so many good
many.
games going on.
It's the rebirth of Warhammer Wednesday.
I
Absolutely.
love it.
So,
It's never a bad thing.
So follow us on Twitch, but also come and watch the shows on YouTube. If you're watching this back on YouTube, come and check us out on Twitch. Do both of them. It helps us in both places. Check out our Discord as well. We have got, I think, nearly 650 members now, chatting about all kinds of things, role-playing games, movies, TV shows, books, etc. Loads of stuff. And also check out our Patreon. There's loads of free stuff. And if you do want to support the channel through the Patreon, then you get a load of cool freebies, maps, adventures, games, and sessions with the Garblags every month, which have been going very well recently. So yeah.
And if you spend enough Garblag groats here for the One Ring, we'll make Pete sing an entire song.
I've got the lyrics. I've got the lyrics. I'm ready to go.
I have.
Basically, if you
I have
spend
90
one
I have-
Garblag groat, Pete will probably sing.
I just
Yeah,
need
let's
one
say,
more
I
glass
got-
of wine and then I'm on it.
I've got 96,000. So I mean, we'll sing all. I just want to hear Pete sing for hours.
And how
Well,
many
it's
grades
only
do I
half
have
11.
to
Full on
spend to
Lord
make
of the
him not
Rings,
sing?
like
It's only 11:30,
And-
so give me an hour and I'll sing for it. No.
like the bit where they all sing about Boromir's death, and Aragorn sung 4 pages, And Gimli sung 4 pages, and Legolas sung 4 pages, and Aragorn sung again.
He was just showing off. 4 pages is enough singing for anyone.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
stand
anyway.
by the beatboxing comment.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a cool addition. It's
Middle Earth beatboxing.
Middle Earth Redux.
Aaron and I are just going to do the chorus
Act.
badly.
And I'm
Very
going
badly.
to watch in enjoyment.
Right. Good night, lovely people. Thank you very much for watching us play games today.
Bye.
Good night.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.